Have you ever felt that silent call of autonomy, a force that drives us to forge our own paths, even if it means embracing solitude? In a world that champions constant connection, there's a subtle and often misunderstood power in the ability to thrive in our own company. We're not talking about isolation as a burden here, but as a state of being where strength and self-knowledge flourish. What if I told you that nature holds the key to unlocking this mystery? Get ready to dive into the psyche of one of the most enigmatic and solitary hunters in the animal kingdom, the leopard. Its reclusive life and mastery of solitary survival mirror a facet of the human soul that few dare to explore. What can the leopard teach us about extreme solitude and how it can be a superpower in your life? Discover it now. Extreme solitude is a concept that, at first glance, might conjure images of sadness, forced isolation, or even social failure. However, what we propose here is a redefinition, a new perspective on this state. We're talking about solitude as a choice, as potential, or as an inevitable circumstance that, paradoxically, transforms into a source of strength. Imagine a person who, by choice, prefers the company of their own thoughts to a frantic social calendar. They aren't running from the world, but rather seeking a space where their energy isn't drained by incessant interactions. It's the mind craving introspection, a deep dive into itself to emerge stronger and clearer. This manifestation of solitude can appear in various forms in daily life. Think of the artist who spends hours on end in their studio, immersed in their creation, where the absence of external distractions is a catalyst for genius. The silence of their workshop isn't empty. It's filled with the symphony of their ideas. Or consider the entrepreneur who, at the beginning of their journey, dedicates themselves alone to building their project from scratch, driven by a unique vision that perhaps few initially understand. They don't seek external approval, but the validation of their own conviction. It's also not uncommon to see the academic who delves into complex research, spending days and nights, poring over books and data, finding clarity and depth in the silence of their office, where every new discovery is a personal victory. This solitude isn't empty. It's filled with reflection, planning, and self-discovery. It's a time when the mind can wander freely, unburdened by social expectations or the need to conform to external standards. It's where ideas are honed, emotions are processed, and an inner fortress is built. Often, this person is seen as reserved, independent, or even mysterious. They might have a smaller social circle. The connections they establish are deep and meaningful, chosen with discernment, not out of obligation. The time they dedicate to themselves doesn't make them antisocial, but empowers them for more authentic and less superficial interactions. Ultimately, extreme solitude from this perspective is fertile ground for self-knowledge. It's an invitation to look within, to understand what truly matters, free from the influence of others' opinions. It's in this space that many discover their true passions, their limits, and their most intrinsic capacities. It's a reunion with oneself, a dive into one's own waters that, though deep, reveal unexpected treasures, and a clarity that only the absence of external noise can provide. It's precisely this depth that we will compare to the instinct of a majestic animal. When we think of the embodiment of autonomy and solitary life in the animal kingdom, an image imposes itself with force and elegance: the leopard. This magnificent feline is the personification of the hunter who thrives in seclusion, a master of camouflage and operating in the shadows. Unlike other large felines such as lions that live in prides and hunt in groups, or cheetahs that form small family groups for quick hunts, the leopard is by nature a convinced solitary, a strategist, who dominates its environment without the need for support. Its behavior is almost entirely independent. From infancy, when it's raised by its mother for a limited time to learn essential survival skills, to adulthood, the leopard spends most of its existence alone. It hunts alone, relying on its stealth and individual strength. It demarcates and defends its vast territory solitarily, using olfactory and visual cues to warn other leopards of its presence. Even mating occurs in brief, punctual encounters, and a female, after gestation, raises her cubs without the male's help, returning to her seclusion once the young become independent. Its independence isn't an option, but an instinctive necessity dictated by its survival strategy and the nature of its prey and habitats. The leopard's habitat is incredibly diverse. It can be found in dense, humid forests, open savannas, rocky mountains, and even semi-desert areas. This adaptability to such varied environments is only possible due to its solitary nature and its versatile and opportunistic hunting ability. It's a predator that doesn't specialize in a single prey. It's capable of hunting anything from small rodents and birds to antelopes, young zebras, and wild boars. One of its most fascinating curiosities is its ability to drag prey, which is several times its own weight, high up into trees, protecting it from other larger and more numerous predators like lions and hyenas. This unique strategy of hiding food in trees is a testament to its intelligence, individual strength, and need for self-sufficiency. The visual image of the leopard is striking. Its spotted coat, known as rosettes, offers perfect camouflage amidst foliage, allowing it to approach its prey unnoticed. Its penetrating, vigilant eyes, muscular and flexible body, and unparalleled agility make it an expert hunter and an ambush master. But it has its ability to be self-sufficient in a wild and competitive world that makes it the perfect mirror for human extreme solitude. It doesn't seek company to feel complete. Its completeness lies in its own ability to survive and thrive without depending on anyone. It is autonomy in its purest form, a true free spirit of nature. The connection between the leopard and human extreme solitude is surprisingly deep and resonant. Just as the leopard thrives in its own company, using seclusion as a tool for survival and mastery in its environment, the human who embraces extreme solitude finds in it fertile ground for personal development and self-sufficiency. Both, in their respective worlds, demonstrate that true strength can be forged in the silence of autonomy. Consider the leopard's strategy of hunting alone. It doesn't rely on a group to corner prey. Its skill, patience, and cunning are the only resources needed. It assesses the scene, plans its attack, and executes with precision. Similarly, the individual who navigates life in extreme solitude often develops remarkable autonomy and a sharp capacity for initiative. They learn to solve their own problems, to make important decisions without the need for external validation, and to trust their own instincts and judgments. Just as the leopard sharpens its claws and sense of smell for the hunt, the solitary person refines their problem-solving skills, emotional resilience, and ability to act independently. The leopard has ability to adapt to multiple environments and drag its prey into trees for protection reflects the flexibility, ingenuity, and self-preservation of the person living in extreme solitude. This person learns to create their own sanctuaries, whether they are physical spaces for introspection or mental spaces where they can recharge and protect their achievements from external interference and judgment. It's not an escape from the world, but a strategic way to preserve their essence, vital energy, and unwavering focus. Both the leopard and the human in extreme solitude share a profound observation of the surrounding world. The leopard, camouflaged and lurking, patiently observes its territory, noticing every movement, every detail that could be crucial for its survival or the identification of an opportunity. The human living in extreme solitude, free from the distractions and noise of incessant social interactions, develops a keen ability to observe, analyze, and reflect. They perceive nuances in situations and people that might go unnoticed by those constantly immersed in groups. This acuity allows for a deeper understanding of life, relationships, and, most importantly, of oneself. Solitude becomes a laboratory for the mind. In essence, the leopard's solitude is not a sign of weakness, but of unwavering strength, mastery, and self-sufficiency. It doesn't need external approval or a group to feel complete. It is complete in itself, a predator at the peak of its individual capacity. Similarly, the person who acts like the leopard in extreme solitude is not on the fringes of society out of deficiency, but by an intrinsic choice to cultivate their individuality, to find their fullness within themselves. It's a powerful metaphor for the soul's autarky, where strength doesn't reside in the crowd, but in the unbreakable essence of the being who, in their own company, becomes unstoppable. The connection between human extreme solitude and the leopard's behavior, while seemingly a poetic metaphor, resonates with various areas of psychology and biology. It's not about a direct species equivalence, but rather about instinctive and behavioral parallels that can be explained by evolutionary, neuropsychological, and sociocultural mechanisms. In evolutionary biology, the leopard's solitary life strategy is a reflection of natural selection. In environments where competition for resources is high, where prey is dispersed, or where camouflage and stealth are essential for hunting, group living may not be advantageous. Individuals who are capable of hunting, surviving, and reproducing alone are more likely to pass on their genes. The leopard's autonomy, therefore, is an evolutionary adaptation that ensures its survival and reproductive success. In humans, although our species is predominantly social and relies on cooperation for survival, there is significant individual variability. Some people, due to their neurological structure, innate temperament, and life experiences, may have a lower need for constant social interaction and a greater capacity for emotional self-regulation and internal resilience. Personality psychology offers crucial insights into the traits that might lead someone to prefer or thrive in solitude. The concept of introversion, popularized by Carl Jung, describes individuals who recharge in calm, solitary environments and who can feel drained by an excess of social stimuli. While introversion isn't synonymous with extreme solitude, it's a factor that significantly contributes to the propensity to seek moments of seclusion. Neuroscience research, for example, suggests that the brains of introverted individuals may have different dopamine pathways activated compared to extroverts, which affects their perception of reward in social interactions. This suggests a biological basis for the preference for solitude in some individuals, not as a defect, but as a healthy variation of neurodiversity. Furthermore, positive psychology has extensively studied the concept of solitude, differentiating it from loneliness. Solitude is viewed as a voluntary, intentional, and beneficial state of being alone, which allows for deep reflection, creativity, emotional self-regulation, and self-discovery. Studies indicate that people who intentionally practice solitude tend to have greater self-awareness, lower stress, an enhanced ability to solve complex problems, and greater clarity about their life goals. It's as if, by temporarily withdrawing from the pack, the mind has more space to process information, consolidate memories, innovate, and plan, much like the leopard operates with maximum efficiency when it's alone and focused on its hunt. In the field of cognitive psychology, the absence of social distractions during solitude can lead to an enhancement of focus and concentration. When we're not constantly reacting to external stimuli or processing social interactions, our minds have more resources to dedicate to complex tasks, creative thinking, or self-reflection. This aligns with the leopard's ability to maintain laser focus on its prey, without the distractions that might occur in a group hunt. In summary, the leopard's autonomy isn't a whim, but a biological response to its environment and a reflection of its evolutionary effectiveness. Similarly, the preference for extreme solitude in humans, in many cases, isn't a social failing, but a psychological and neurobiological adaptation that allows for individual flourishing, innovation, and the development of remarkable resilience. Understanding this helps us demystify solitude, transforming it from a taboo into a powerful characteristic of resilience and self-mastery. To make this connection more tangible and illustrate how the leopard mindset manifests in humans, let's imagine some mini-stories of people who, in some way, exhibit the behavior of extreme solitude with mastery. The silent inventor. Joe was always the loner in his engineering class, almost an enigma. While his colleagues gathered for group studies, socialized, and went out on weekends, he preferred to spend his nights and early mornings in the lab hunched over his projects, surrounded only by the hum of machines and his own thoughts. No one quite understood what he was doing, and he didn't try too hard to explain, content in his own creative bubble. He was like a leopard in its den, focused on its prey, in this case, the solution to a complex technological problem that many considered impossible. When he finally presented his invention, an innovative device that revolutionized industrial automation, everyone was surprised. His autonomy, his silent dedication, and his ability to focus without interruption were the keys to his success, proving that seclusion wasn't isolation, but the incubation of genius. He didn't need a pack to hunt down his big idea. He hunted it alone with unquestionable mastery. The mountain writer, Aina, a renowned and award-winning fiction author, chose to live in an isolated cabin in the mountains, far from urban hustle. She has few close friends and rarely participates in social or literary events, preferring contact with nature and silence. Her routine involves long, solitary walks through the forest, where nature reveals itself in its fullness, and hours on end in front of her computer, where words flow with an intensity and depth that only quietude can provide. "The city drains me," she often says. "I need silence and vastness to hear my stories and give voice to my characters." Her home is like a leopard's territory, a sacred, protected space where she practices her art with complete independence and focus. Her hunt is inspiration, and she pursues it in the depths of her own mind and the surrounding landscape, far from the distractions of the literary pack. Her books, full of complex characters, rich emotional landscapes, and profound philosophies, are the result of this deep and autonomous immersion. The endurance athlete. Carlos is an elite ultramarathoner, known for his ability to push past seemingly impossible limits. Unlike many athletes who train in teams, he prefers to train alone, running on remote and challenging trails for hours on end, often without encountering a single soul. His days are governed by iron discipline and unwavering self-confidence, forged in miles of solitude and personal overcoming. Friends and family sometimes question his solitude in training, suggesting company, but he smiles. "That's where I truly find myself. It's where I get mentally stronger and discover what I'm capable of." Carlos is like the leopard patrolling its vast territory alone, perfecting every movement, every hunting and survival strategy. The physical and mental endurance he builds in these solitary moments is what drives him to overcome pain and fatigue in grueling competitions, where many depend on the energy of the crowd or team. He hunts his victories with the strength of his own will and resilience, forged in solitude. These examples show that extreme solitude is not a weakness or an escape, but a source of power, focus, and originality. Like the leopard, these individuals use their seclusion to hone their skills, protect their vital energy, and ultimately achieve a level of excellence and self-knowledge that might not be possible with constant social dependence. They demonstrate that true strength can be found in the ability to navigate life in one's own company, transforming the absence of external company into a full and potent presence of self. Solitude for them is a sanctuary of strength. Understanding extreme solitude through the lens of the leopard offers us profound lessons and invitations to reflect on our own nature and how we perceive being alone. If the leopard teaches us anything with its majestically independent life, It's that autonomy and self-sufficiency are intrinsic traits of strength, not fragility or a problem to be fixed. We don't need to conform to the socially imposed idea that being alone is always something to be overcome or avoided at all costs. On the contrary, we can learn to honor, value, and even cultivate these moments of seclusion as a powerful source of renewal. The first lesson is about authenticity and alignment. Just as the leopard lives in total alignment with its instinctive nature, operating with maximum efficiency in its solitary mode, we too can allow ourselves to be who we truly are, without the constant pressure to fit into social patterns that may not resonate with our essence. If your energy is recharged in quietude, if your best ideas emerge from deep introspection, then embrace that. Recognize that your individuality is a superpower, a unique characteristic that distinguishes you, and not a flaw to be hidden. Honor your pace and your space. Secondly, the figure of the leopard inspires us to fully trust our own resources. It doesn't wait for help or a group to ensure its survival. It finds and cultivates it within itself, using its innate intelligence and skills. For us, this means developing emotional resilience, the ability to solve complex problems autonomously, and unwavering confidence in our own decisions and instincts, without the constant need for external validation or approval. The more we become masters of our own inner territory, our mind, emotions, and spirit, the more capable we are of facing life's challenges with courage, independence, and serenity. Another important reflection is about the quality of connections versus quantity. The leopard has brief but significant and purposeful encounters, whether for mating or defending its territory. It doesn't live in a constant pack, but when it interacts, it's for an essential reason. This leads us to question: do we need a vast network of superficial social contacts, or a few deep, genuine, and mutually enriching connections? Perhaps extreme solitude teaches us to be more selective and intentional in our relationships, valuing the depth of exchange over mere presence. It's in solitude that we learn to identify who truly matters. Finally, solitude, from this new perspective, can be an unparalleled catalyst for creativity and deep self-knowledge. In the silence of the mind, away from the distractions of the external world and others, expectations, brilliant insights, innovative ideas, and crystal clear clarity about who we truly are, what drives us, and what we want to build in our lives emerge. It is in our personal hunting ground, that mental space of introspection, that we can sharpen our inner senses, develop our intuition, process experiences, and discover our own most intrinsic treasures and potentials. It's an invitation to mastery of the self. Instead of fearing solitude or seeing it as a burden, perhaps it's time to view it as a sacred sanctuary, a space where the soul can breathe freely, grow, innovate, and strengthen itself. Acting like the leopard isn't about permanently isolating oneself from the world, but rather choosing the right time to connect deeply, and the right time to retreat with purpose, always aiming to become the strongest, most authentic, and most fulfilled version of oneself. What will be your next move, now that you understand the power of your own autonomy and solitude? Our journey through the world of the leopard and extreme solitude has shown us that there is undeniable strength in forging your own path. It's not about absence, but about inner fullness and the art of being complete within yourself. May the image of the leopard, majestic in its autonomy, inspire you to embrace your own moments of seclusion, transforming them into inexhaustible sources of power, clarity, and self-discovery. Remember, your ability to thrive in your own company isn't a sign of weakness, but the silent roar of your true strength. Do you act like the leopard? What power have you yet to explore in your own autonomy?